Like a king one day asked, it was a Dasara time, this is Dasara, just now went Durga Puja festival, Navaratri. There will be so many statues. So the king asked everybody, make some beautiful statues if you can. Okay. So everybody started making lovely statues. They brought those statues and came. And then he was an artist, so he looked at all the statues. Oh, very nice. But even though he was looking at it, he was waiting for the smart minister, Tenali Raman. What type of statue he has got? And of course, everybody says, that fellow is smart speaking, but he doesn't know any art or painting. So don't worry, he won't come. Lastly, he comes and he brings the ugliest statue. So everybody is, look, what did you not tell you this fellow is an idiot? He doesn't know how to paint or how to build a statue. So this is, look at the nonsense he has brought. So the king said, what is this, Tenali Raman? What is this? He said, this is the most wonderful statue. He said, what is so beautiful about it? It's the ugliest. He said, but this statue can talk. What? Yes, this statue can talk. You asked me to Dasara, Ravana, Ravana, that 10-headed monster. His statue must be built. So everybody has made a royal one with a gold, diamond and all this stuff. He has made one dirty one, ugly looking, because he stands for evil, stands for all things wrong. So he said, what do you mean it's a talking statue? He said, talk to him. He will answer. Then he asked, why do you look so ugly? And the statue starts talking. It's ugly because there is so much of poverty in the kingdom. So many people are starving. Even if people are starving, they are not supposed to tell the king that they are starving. You don't tell the king about those things, do you? All the courtiers are already trembling. Now the king will get very wild. First the sword will fall on the statue, next of course on this Tenali Raman. So they are always wondering. So the king got very anxious. What are you doing? I am going to, he said, cut this statue. Immediately statue opened up. The person jumps out, he says, Maharaj, forgive me. Even if you kill me, do you think all these negative things in your kingdom will come to an end? I am Ravana. Even if I dead, I shall continue. The king understood. Because when somebody points out your mistake, you don't like it. The people who are totally obsessed, overwhelmed by secular considerations, sensations of every kind, education, money, wealth, that these are the things which will solve my problem. If you tell them, you must know about yourself, the person would understand. Do you know why? Listen carefully. Because long before I go to education, I have already suffered ignorance, illiteracy. Illiteracy doesn't solve the problem. Therefore, people go to literacy. Unemployment doesn't solve the problem. Therefore, people go for employment. Poverty doesn't solve the problem. Therefore, people go to prosperity. Disease doesn't solve the problem. Therefore, people go to health. Naturally, when the poverty, disease, illiteracy brings in so much of problem in life, the other side, literacy, prosperity, health, power, seduce every individual. This is where it comes. That is why you cannot tell the person, because if you say, riches will not solve your problem, immediately the person will say, so you mean to say poverty will solve my problem? Naturally. This is where needs your intelligence. So when the scripture says, when the Upanishad says, prosperity will not solve your problem, listen carefully. That is why you have to go through your ordinary, the first text as we have gone through. If somebody says, if the scripture says prosperity will not solve your problem, what it means is, of course, poverty never solves the problem. Prosperity doesn't solve it either. Illiteracy doesn't solve the problem. Literacy doesn't solve it either. Disease doesn't solve the problem. Health doesn't solve it either. Sometimes prosperity, education compounds your problem. Uneducated person has a lesser problem. Educated person has greater problem. That is why you shall come across in the Upanishads the declaration, amazing declaration. Andham tama pravishanti ye avidyayam rata. Those who are in the womb of ignorance, they enter into blinding darkness. Tato bhuyayavate tamaha. They vidyayam rata. Those who indulge or engage themselves in knowledge, they enter into greater darkness. Can you believe this statement? Huh? Ignorance people getting into darkness, I can understand. The people who are getting into knowledge, they into greater darkness? Yes. Whose frustration level is higher? Rich man's or poor man's? Understand? The person who is poor, he justifies suffering. I have nothing, so I can suffer. The person who worked hard, got everything, when still he does not get it, he is fully frustrated. Because when a poor man can still dream, the rich man's dream has turned to nightmare. The poor man shall say, if I can get a cycle, it will be everything, it will be nice. Because he is now walking. So he thinks if you get a cycle, his problem is solved. If only I can get a car. If only I get a 1-bedroom tenement. If only I can get a 2-3-bedroom tenement. So the person is still dreaming. The person who is already 16-bedroom house. The man who has a fleet of cars. The person who is highly educated. He get all the money that he wants. He can go around the world wherever he wants. And still he is miserable. What will happen? That is, the person is totally frustrated. That is why educated and rich are more frustrated. And imagine if educated, rich, powerful people are more frustrated, do you think you can fix a world? You cannot fix the world. Do you know why? Poverty of the poor you can take away. Poverty of the rich, nobody can take away. You understand the problem of the world? Problem of the world is not poverty of the poor. The problem of the world is poverty of the rich. Where rich has got a hunger for billions. Can you give billions to somebody? I want 10 Ferraris. I want 20 Arabian steeds. I want a huge house right on the hilltop overlooking the ocean with a helipad and an executive jet thrown in. Never ending. Just think.